How's it going, everybody? And oh boys, am I shouting again? Hope not. 1 second, let me just double check. I think I might be. Yes, I am. Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to sound like I was shouting. I forget to check that every once in a while. And then I see the EQ spike all the way red, and I'm like, sorry, didn't mean to shout. Anyway, welcome back to another installment of Tech Support Thursday. I'm actually trying to get this done on Thursday, just today, and get that all knocked out. So, in this video, we're going to continue doing what we've done in the past. I'm going to go walk you through some of the questions that I get on the channel, and we're going to go through and, answer some questions, provide some feedback, give some my 2 cents on where I'm at with some things, and go from there. Anyway, without any further ado, from a week ago, I have on Ticket 32, am I first? Apparently you are. So I'm going to go, I just noticed that. I'm going to go ahead and give that a heart. Next question on 32 was, does any of your customers use ACI? I don't care for it, but my job has any chance for videos on it. So there are customers that run ACI. I personally do not work with them on the ACI components or the ACI deployment unless they are planning on moving away from ACI to a manual fabric through like a Nexus dashboard or through a manual CLI deployment. So I do work with some folks that are really well versed with ACI, and those are the folks that work with those customers. I am not one of those folks. I get the gist of ACI, but I've never really dug into it to really learn it. I do have the ACI simulator, so it's like a 40-something gig file that you have to like take multiple pieces and join together. And it does give you the APIC, the Application Policy Infrastructure Controller, to log in and do some stuff to discovery, but really the only thing that's good for is the discovery piece. You can't do anything with it in the data plane, stuff like that. So, and there's a lot of moving parts. The understanding that I have for it is it's similar theoretically to operationally, maybe even a little bit, to the way that Cisco's vManage works for SD-WAN, for Viptela. So in my experience with Viptela, you had to go through and create a bunch of templates, and you're basically doing the exact same thing with ACI, for at least loosely speaking. I've dove into SD-WAN a little bit. I did some content on here on the channel a couple years ago. It's been a while. But, so there's that. So I won't be doing any content on it. I actually did seriously consider diving into ACI because I wanted to actually go after the data center CCIE. But I know the guy that wrote the Cisco Pressbook for ACI. I worked with him. Worked with him on several projects, and I got a deep understanding of how it would work, and that you couldn't just go buy switches off of eBay for say $30,000 and go buy an APIC for another $10,000 or $15,000 and then magically everything would just work. There was an actual process behind the scenes, so I never wasted my money or time or effort trying to really lab it up. I didn't work with any customers that had it, so to me it really wasn't, the squeeze wasn't worth the juice. So hopefully that answers that question. I actually did. There's a question on 32. Hope all is well. I'd like to request some information from you, please. Do you have the UNL files, the EVE files, from your security series that you are able to share? In the IP2 section, you made some changes, such as adding the clouds, changing the AS, and stripping off the crypto maps that I didn't follow well around video 5 and 6. I doubt the validity of my request, as I doubt you were saving and exporting configs after each video, but worth a shot. I would like to be able to follow along better and not have NAT and other config steps other configs step on each other so much? Also, do you stream? I see your channel banner states you live stream on Sundays at 2 p.m. Central, but I don't see you go live or know which platform you were on. Yeah, so I don't have any of that config stuff available, unfortunately. And you're right, I wasn't saving it. I should have though. The that was something that I was dealing with that was problematic. So the only thing I can tell you with the config changes that were made is maybe go back through the videos a second time and watch them. Maybe I was going faster than you could keep up with, or you had a momentary lapse in following along and you missed a step, or whatever. I don't know. Not to put the blame on you, but it very well could have been me. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've done those videos, and I was actually not even at home when I was at home. Never mind. Thinking about something else. So do I stream? So I want to get more into that, but my intention would be to stream from. I have OBS to stream to YouTube via. I have the key something, the cloud key or something along. There's one second. What is actually needed? Stream, Twitch, YouTube, Ninja server, stream key. That's the word. I do have it set up. I think I had it. At least I had it set up. So at some point in the future, I probably will. But it'll be more probably during the winter when I'm not at home as much, or when I'm home more. I'm usually out and about and outside when it's warm out, because I live in the upper Midwest, and our summers are pretty short, from basically middle of May till mid-September, and then it starts to cool off again. So I get a short window of time to be outside and enjoy the weather. So I try to be outside as much as I can during the summer. So there's that. At some point in the future I will, and Sundays at 2 p.m. seems like a good time to do that. We'll continue moving on OVA deployment for a Nexus dashboard, Nexus dashboard 001. Management 0 on all nodes shows directly connected to all other spines leafs when using cloud interfaces connected to Management 0. Any way to force Nexus dashboard to not do this? Keeps trying to apply EVPN DCI tracking to Management 0, and I don't know how to prevent this. So I did that with the cloud to make it easy for the out-of-band management aspect of things. So the way that, so Nexus dashboard being the controller of the switch itself, that's usually the interface that you would tap into on the switch in order for you to do something with it out of band, whether it's SSH, SNMP, TACAX, stuff like that. So there probably is a better way of doing it, but I just haven't found one. But the command that you're talking about, the EVPN DCI tracking to Management 0, I'm familiar with that process because I also tried to set up multi-site through NDFC. And I attempted to get it working, and somehow it ended up breaking some switches the first time I deployed it. So I removed those switches, re-added them, set them as role of border gateway, and then I went through the config diff before I sent the config changes over, and I looked at all the switches, and by looking at the configuration, I was able to pretty easily determine what it was trying to do. And that's when I realized it was trying to do a /30 point-to-point EBGB peering between the Management 0 interfaces, which didn't make any sense to me. So apparently it's you've done it in production. So I've deployed multi-site in production as well, but through the manual CLI. So I've got actually quite a few deployments with multi-site as well. So you're saying create external fabric. So you're going to create a fabric that's multi-site, and you're going to add child fabrics, DC1 and DC2 as child fabrics, and then you're Gonna need to do is set up the interfabric links to both underlay and overlay using create under links using loopback 100. Attach the BRF. Ensure nodes are border gateways. For some reason, NDFC keeps wanting to deploy config under management 0. If I resolve that, If I resolve that, it will come up. I guess I'm a little confused in how you resolve it. I'm going to reply with, what do you do to resolve that? Because I'm curious now. You've definitely sparked some interest. Oops, something went wrong. Okay, well, I'll come back to that later. But if you're watching this video, I'm curious to see how you actually go about doing that. Okay, so last question here is, how do I assign an IP address to gigabit 1/1 or 1/2 interface port on ASA device? Could you list the commands, please? Oh, the device is ISA 3000? What is an ISA 3000? I am not familiar with that. One moment, please, while I go look something up. So, Cisco ISA 3000. Oh. I have never heard of that. True Industrial Firewall provides targeted protection for enterprise class security. Oh, I have legit never heard of this before. And it even looks kind of funny. This is the picture that pops up when I Google it. So whatever that thing is. I do not know how to configure those interfaces. What I can't, although I could answer the question on how to configure an ASA, which is pretty simple. Go underneath the interface and then you give it an IP address, you no-shut it, and you say name if, which is going to be basically associating the security zone. So that's essentially what you do. Pretty simple stuff, but you have to definitely give it a name if. Name-if, name if is going to be how you configure that, and then from there the interface will be able to come on and be able to be placed accordingly. So yeah, other than that, it's a pretty straightforward process. Other than that, there was no other questions regarding any other stuff that was interesting. So I am still working through CCNA content. I'm basically taking my time going through each one of the bullet points on the blueprint, and I am doing research on the things that I don't know very well, spending my time on that. I have started recording some content. My goal is to help you guys understand how the technology works, and then from there point you in the right direction for future studies, taking a little bit of a different approach than what I've seen other channels or training companies or instructors try to show by having some elaborate PowerPoint or whiteboard session to try to explain how something works. That's all well and great, but at the same point in time, any good engineer that is worth their time and effort will know how to research stuff on their own. They'll be self-motivated, self-directed, and if they have questions on something, they'll go Google something. Like, for example, the question that was just asked, like, for example, if I was to, let me move this out of the way real quick. I could take this a step further. Cisco ISA 3000, and then I'll say configuration guide. So here is the configuration guide for that device. So apparently this is, wait. Huh. So is this, oh. So this is a firepower box, because when I go look up the configuration guide, this is what pops up. So this is what I'm assuming you're talking about, I think. I don't know. Firewall. So there is a secure firewall device manager This would be if you were managing the device on its own, not through Firepower Threat Defense Manager, or FTD Manager, or FDM, Firepower Device. I guess it Management Center, right? Firewall Management Center. They changed the names up. They went from secure or from FTD to secure, whatever. Another nomenclature change. So if you were to take this, assuming that I'm looking at this correctly, which I'm going based off this config, I am, then you would come down here, and if you wanted to configure the basics, you would configure interfaces, and I honestly did not know that this was that device. So, oh, right here, configure. Is this one? I think I might be on the right path. So you get hardware bypass during a power outage. Okay. So you would go to the interface. Actually, let me go scroll up here real quick to the top. So if you were to configure a physical interface, yeah, this is the same thing as Firepower Threat Defense, FTD. So you would go to Device Interfaces. You would select the edit the icon, click the edit icon. You'd make your inside interface, the mode that it's going to be, your IP address. This is essentially what you need to do. It's a Google away, literally. You don't even need to waste your time asking me how to do that. If you would have asked the exact same question into Google, this is the response you would have gotten. So this is what I'm talking about when I mentioned a minute ago how any good engineer worth their time and effort would be able to take the question that they have from me, they'd be able to throw it into Google, and they'd be able to get a response out of it, and they would have a solution in a matter of moments. So, and then you just go through the process of doing that. Any question that I have, I will automatically throw it into Google because Google knows a lot more about stuff than I do. So, there you have it. So if you have any questions on that, always Google your questions. If you have questions about a particular technology or something I did in a video or something like that, or what would you do in this scenario, something that you can't really Google, a design question, stuff like that, yeah, sure, drop those in the comment section. I'll be happy to field those. But other stuff like this, it's pretty straightforward. And the same thing with, ASA. ASA is very similar, even if you're going through the ASDM. You go, device, interfaces, I think is or configuration, interfaces, and then you drill down to the interfaces, configure it, then you hit save, and then apply, and it pushes the config down to the firewall, and then just make sure to save and close so that it saves the config on the firewall. So it's a pretty straightforward process, ASDM, or if you're going through FDM on a firewall or on a FDM device, if it's got running firepower, I don't know if that's what it's running. I would hope so, but that is the case. So if you guys have any other questions and stuff like that, drop a link in the comment section below. That is going to be a short one today. If you have anything else you want to bring up, feel free to let me know. Until next time, guys, thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. If you haven't already done so, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch all of you in the next video.